thy flute, Krishna. So is thy foot dust. Sweet is thy hands, Krishna. So are your feet. Sweet is thy dance, Krishna. Sweet is your friendship. Hey, King of all sweetness in this world, everything about you is so sweet. Sweet is thy song, Krishna. Sweet is what you drink. Sweet is what you eat, O Krishna. Sweet is your sleep. Sweet are your looks, O Krishna. Sweet is your tilaka. Hey, King of all the sweetness in this world, everything about you is so sweet. Sweet are thy deeds, Krishna. Sweet is thy path of salvation. Sweet are your theft, Krishna. Sweet is your play of love. Sweet are your oblations, Krishna. Sweet is your tranquility. Hey, King of all the sweetness in this world, everything about you is sweet. Sweet is your necklace of berries, O Krishna. Sweet is your garland. Sweet is thy river Yamuna. O Krishna, sweet are the ripples of the river Yamuna. Sweet is thy water, Krishna. Sweet is the lotus in this water. Hey, King of all the sweetness in this world, everything about you is so sweet. Sweet are thy gopis, Krishna. So is thy playful sport. Sweet is thy right thoughts, Krishna. Sweet is thy salvation. Sweet is what you see, Krishna. Sweet is what is left out. Hey, King of all the sweetness in this world, everything about you is so sweet. Sweet are thine gopas, O Krishna. Sweet are thine cows. Sweet is thy staff, Krishna. Sweet is thy creation. Sweet is what you trample, Krishna. Sweet are your jokes. Hey, King of all the sweetness in this world, everything about you is so sweet. Hey, King of all the sweetness in this world, everything about you is so sweet. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for the Seva Prabhuji. Over to you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can I start the...
Prabhuji, Charu Prabhuji has logged in. Oh, yes.
I was just saying, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute. I was just glorifying Mataji's singing, you know. Samantha Mataji, it's so beautiful you did that. I love it, you know. Okay, let's start.
Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome back, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. So let's get going. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadavaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम पदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः O most beneficent incarnation, You are Krishna himself, appearing Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have assumed the golden complexion of Srimati Radharani, and you are distributing pure love of Krishna. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Krishna Varnam Trisha Krishnam Sangupangostra Parshadam Yagnahi Sankirtana Prayer Yajanti Sumedasa. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sing the names of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. Nana Sastra Vicharnaik Nipunau Shadadharma Samstapakau Lokanam Hitkarinau Tribhuvane Manyau Sharanya Karau Radha Krishna Padarvinda Bhajana Ananden Taliko Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyugau Shri Jiva Gopalako. I offer my respectful obeisance unto the six Goswamis of Vrindavan, namely Shri Rupa Goswami, Shri Sanatan Goswami, Shri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Shri Raghunath Das Goswami, Shri Jiva Goswami, and Shri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizing and studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus, they are honored all over the three worlds because what? They are honored all over the three worlds, and they are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of Shri Radha and Krishna. Hey Krishna. Next, okay, I'll shorten it down. Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Jai Shri Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Narom Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat. Hey Krishna. So let's hear the recap of what we covered last week. Hare Krishna.
Okay, let's start. Hare Krishna, dear sir. Hare Krishna, dear sir. Hare Krishna, dear all. Dandas Pranam. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for confirming. So last week we covered lesson 68, part B. One minute. Just move this. Yes. So this is continuing verses of Gopi Geet. So there are many slides to cover. So I will try to be as swift as I can, and I will try to focus on the important point. So this is verse 4 onwards. So here the whole mood is about gopis. They go and they have this different states of emotional ecstasies. Sometimes they are blaming Lord Krishna, then they are afraid, oh, what will Lord Krishna think? So then they try to please him or go with the sweet and soft word. They imagine what Krishna would be thinking. The overarching thing is the huge intensity of love of gopis for Lord Krishna to the extent that they feel at one point, or the acharyas say that when they are not with Krishna, the pain is so intense, but they feel so much close or proximity with Krishna because they go through the minute details. Whereas when Krishna is with them, they relish that, but they are always worried that they might lose Krishna. So a very, very interesting aspect of the true love and higher stages of what we get through prema, from prema to Mahabhava and others. So let's go through that. So this verse 4 here, the gopis, they say Krishna that, oh Krishna, you cannot be the son of Yashoda, nor can you be super soul. So they are putting a blame on Lord Krishna. Can any one of you, read and tell me why is that? What is the reason for that? What reason they give for this?
Because Yashoda go. Sorry, Hare Krishna. You can go, Mataji.
Yeah.
Yes, please go ahead, Mata.
What they are saying is like, Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Okay, you do not have any of the soft-hearted character of Yashoda Mata. Okay, because he left. You may not be even son of Yashoda. Okay, you will not give the birth to such a kind of person. Like, do not have the characteristic of Yashoda. It's very, very unique lines, Prabhuji. Okay.
Yes, and why you are not super soul? Because you do not have that attitude of a friend.
Yeah, you
Super
do
soul.
not have the attitude of Yashoda, and she is very, very merciful.
Correct. So that is the gopi, and you cannot be the super soul also because you do not have the attitude of a friend nor of a devotee like you do. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Prasad Prabhu. So we go to the next slide now. You all are able to see the slide, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you. I will go to next one. Now, in this slide, then there is, of course, wonderful commentary of the Acharya. They point out several commentary, which is very nicely summarized by Prabhuji over here. Of course, we cannot go through all, so I will I will ask, or we'll hash out what are the important points, or at least what I felt inspired by. So one is about the paradox of the identity of the Lord. Paradox means the opposite aspects of Lord's identity. So what is the paradox of his identity which the Goswamis or the Gopis say?
He embodies both divine majesty and intimate familiarity.
Correct. So it is both the mix of Aishwarya Bhav and the Madhurya, right? So he embodies both. Now we'll continue to study that in the next slide. What does that mean? So slide 3 now. Okay. Before we go there, there is further, the thematic elements and the philosophical significance of these verses. So in this one, we must understand what does true devotion involve? Like, what should a true devotee or true devotion? What are the two aspects they have to balance? Anyone try that?
Familiarity and
Reverence. Yes, correct. So it's a like having.
Why is that thing? Why is that?
So,
what is the problem with the familiarity?
Yeah, familiarity, Prabhuji, is relations and all those things we talk about, and reverence is opulence, right? So, of the
What is
Lord.
the negative element of familiarity? What happens when you become too familiar with someone?
you take them for granted.
Yeah.
You take them for granted.
Familiarity breeds contempt.
Right.
We take it granted, right?
Yes, correct.
So here there's a
and then the
reverential
respect
power.
will go.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay.
Yes. So
here they're saying that, becoming too familiar, then that reverential mood, it sort of confronts that, Yeah, go ahead, Prabhuji.
Yes. So here that's what, as Prabhuji explained, like one has to maintain the balance, and also, but in case of gopis and Vrajvasis, their love is pure, deep, and much more stronger. So in that case, as I understand, the mood of reverence actually is sort of a blocker. But for us, we have to maintain the balance. That's what I understand. Okay, now gopis ask for 4 things step by step from the Lord that we'll cover in the next slides. But before we go there, what do we understand from Gopi's lamentation? So this is more in line with the Vipra Lamba Bhavade. So what is the understanding? I have highlighted there from Prabhuji's slide, if someone can.
Their Gopis' deep affections and love
Correct.
towards Krishna.
Correct. And as I said, yes, that's deep affection and love, and this emotional pain they feel, okay, that illustrates that it has this sort of bhav has a transformative power of suffering in the spiritual realm, right? So one few aspects here. One, that suffering is much more deeper. It intensifies the love, and it has a transformative power. What is the transformative power here? It is increasing the intensity of the suffering. Increasing the intensity of spiritual or divine love to Krishna.
It increases the experience of the devotee, and devotees seeker to find the divine.
Correct. Correct. And continuing with that, why is the that we covered. So now, what is the ask of the one of the ask of the gopis is first ask of the gopi, please put your hand on our head, right? So they say here, oh best of Vishnu. So they say, okay, please put your hand on our head, with which you hold Mother Lakshmi. Why are they saying that? Why are they asking for that?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Yes, Mata.
उन्होंने ऐसा कहा गोपियों ने कि हमारा हाथ, क्योंकि भगवान हमेशा लक्ष्मी माता का हाथ पकड़ के रखते हैं और वो द्वारा उनको मर्सी देते हैं, तो हमारे भी सर पे हाथ रखिए, सो हमारे कर्म हमारे जो भी खराब कर्म है वो जल जाए, तो हमें वो आशीर्वाद दीजिए।
Correct, Mata. Yes. So the burning fire of the karma will disappear because of the sweet hand of the Lord. Thank you, Mataji. Yes, perfect. So let's go ahead then. Here again, we talking about mode of separation, right? Well, I mean, so that's here. We just touched upon that, right? Why the mode of separation is much more important, because it deepens the experience, it intensifies the love. So I will not repeat that. But that's an important point here. Now, what is the second asa of the gopis? What are they asking now? Here, anybody can read. And why did Krishna leave the rasa dance in the first place? Or main thing, what
they
is
asked
it?
for to show Krishna's beautiful lotus face. They wanted to see.
They wanted
and
to
there are
see.
2 reasons why Krishna left the rasa dance. First was to remove the gopis' pride, and the second one, gopis' pride in their own good fortune, and the second was to please Sri Radhe. As such, yeah.
So Radharani had a feeling that
Jealous anger.
Yeah.
Jealousy anger.
Absolutely correct, Madhuri. Thank you. So, I mean, the second ask. So there are 4 asks. That's what we need to remember very well. Important takeaway. First ask, place your hand on our head. Second ask, show us your lotus face. And then we continue now. So now, again, about this verse, the Acharyas give us a very deeper aspects and several important points. Again, the key point here is the importance of Vipra Lamba Bhava, right? So that is very important aspect, because that enhances the love and the connection with the Krishna. Because in that ecstasy of or in that deep pain of the separation, they can relish more and more final aspects. So we continue. Then slide 8 here continues to explain the thematic the thematic highlights of the long purports that are in the book. So again, thank you, Prabhuji, for summarizing this with us. I think here it's important to understand there is a reciprocal relationship between Krishna and gopis, where Krishna is also deriving the pleasure, and gopis are also hankering. So this reciprocal relationship, it signifies that love is a two-way street. It's not just like the gopis are loving the Lord and Lord is not like totally careless, but here it also signifies that both the lover and the beloved, that means Krishna, the Lord, also enjoys that in their association. And they serve one another to deepen the connection. And this is continuous and paraspar, right? Now, here's one more question. Now, we see in we have different groups of gopis. The Samya means the left, the right is the neutral, and they compete with each other. So, what is the importance of this competition?
This
What is the
increases
value of this
devotion and
competition?
love.
Yes, yes. Correct, Mataji. So, this competition actually is in a way to just please or increase the pleasure of Lord Krishna, and it fosters the environment where love can flourish. It's a healthy love travel. So that's nice. Thank you, Mataji. So that way we come to verse 7 now. And now here, what is the next task from the gopis here? The third ask. What is the third request for the gopis? I have highlighted here.
Yeah, place your lotus feet on.
Prabhuji,
Go ahead, go ahead. Yeah, okay. Place your lotus. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Radha Vinod Prabhu.
Okay. So place your lotus feet on your breast. Basically, he's talking about, yeah, which you have put on Kali and you destroyed his, all his miseries, right? So that is what they are talking. They are also in miserable. Gopis are also feeling miserable. So put your lotus feet on your breast. It's a symbolic, basically, and get the lust out of our heart. Yeah.
This is the third ask. First ask, just to repeat, place your hand on our head so that all the karma is destroyed. Second ask is show us your lotus feet. Third ask is here, place your lotus feet on our breast. And why they are telling breast, we'll just read that shortly. But before we go, it's important to understand what are the three kind of ratis and an example of each. Anybody wants to read that? Otherwise, I can read. Because we're short of time today. Okay, I will read that for all of you. There are three kind of rati here. Sadharan rati, which is the lowest in this category. Example is Kubja.
Samanjasa.
Okay, it's Samanjasa rati, which was shown in Queens of Dwarika. And then the highest is Samartha rati, which is what the Rajagopis have. Okay, so we have to remember that they just always thinking about Krishna. They have no context or thought about themselves. It's all about how can we please Krishna. So we continue with this, and now slide 12. Again, an expansion of what is Samartharati. That is, gopis are selfless. So one aspect is why are gopis desire selfless? If you can read. Well, I will read that. That is main because they are all their desire are not to satisfy their own self, but to serve and please Lord Krishna. So that is how the desires are selfless. So then moving on, this is here again in several themes of or several highlights of slide. So verse 7, that's what this slide covers. One is like the Shuddha Bhakti aspect of these devotees, and all these points are very important, but I would just pick up one because we have less time here. How can a pure being like Guru or Krishna liberate others from the sins? What exactly happens here? What is the technicality? Yes, Mataji.
With the purity, grace, and ability to remove sins, because the point of the notion is to surrender completely and transform our power to divine grace.
Correct. Yes, madam. Because of the propati, the surrender, and because they are transcendental and they are pure and they are already surrendered, so they can vanquish or remove our sins. So we continue with that. So that is the power of devotion, right? So now, so that's just continuing that aspect that again, there are so many other points here, but again, the pure being or the devotee, he remains unaffected by the impurities of the material world. So that's why they have this power, right? So now here, the final ask, what is the last ask from the gopis here? The fourth ask, just covered here in green, if anyone can.
Nectar of the lips, Krishna's
Yes. So
lips.
give us the nectar of your lips. And then there is further explanation of that. Like the nectar of the lips means two things. One is materialist may think it's about kissing, but actually it is about the Krishna Katha, because that elevates us. And when they say keep your heart on the breast, then keep your lotus feet on our breast, what they mean is keep it on our, because the heart is over there, so that all the sorrowful state, all the everything not needed from the heart is cleared and they will feel. Now there are 10 states of ecstasy. Anybody would like to read that? Prabhuji has given here. I felt it's very
longing, anxiety, sleeplessness,
yes.
emaciation, interior, impatience, illness, madness, delusion, and longing for death.
So these are the 10 states of the Purvara, right? So, and they manifest in the gopis or the fully mature devotees. So it's always good to know reference from Ujjvala Nilamani Purvara. Okay, so these are again the themes which are very nicely summarized by Prabhuji, but we are a bit short on time today, so we'll go to the next one. There is a wonderful word here that Lord is, the gopis describe Krishna as Madhurya Gira. Madhurya Gira. What does that mean? What does that signify?
Sweetness of in the divine speech.
Correct. Inherent, sweetness in his speech, and that's why they want to hear from him. And it just reflects that the communication or katha in this case is not just information, but it transforms the heart. It has a capability to enchant even the most hard-hearted or learned individuals. Like in this world, we can see the example of how Srila Prabhupada, he transformed all the hippies, or how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he transformed the Mayavadis. Continuing with that, one of the theme here is desire for the divine nectar. Means the gopis, they long for the nectar of your lips, which is the goal of our spiritual life. Right? That is the direct experience of divine love and ecstasy. We have that. So again, we will for now skip this one, and then we go to verse 9. Okay. So, Vijay, I have time, or I'm out of it? I think,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you. I think I have a few more. So, what is the meaning of Tapta Jivanam over here?
The Jain means to give life for those who are suffering in any painful condition.
Yes. So, this is the nectar of Hari Katha is Tapta Jivanam, which means it gives life to those who are suffering in any sort of painful condition. Right? And then the next is also continuing that if person hears Hari Katha with faith, that Hari Katha will make those samskar in our life. It makes that impressions in the heart, or samskar, right? Samskar, yeah. Samskar in the heart, and then Krishna personally manifests and remains in the heart forever. Okay? This takes place at once, and this happens at once. That's the beauty here. Tatshana, right? Without any delay, this happens. So that is the beauty of Krishna Katha. It is Tapta Jivanam, and the impact is Tatshana. So wonderful words here. And then Kalmashapaham. Now, the gopis here are actually they are using this to complain to the Lord in a different way. They are saying that we heard about this Krishna Katha, but it is supposed to have the positive effects, but they are complaining. It's a bittersweet complaint that we had a reverse impact. We are actually totally destroyed.
Neither, because there are two groups of gopis. One is Dakshina Bhava, one is Vamya Bhava. Dakshina Bhava represented by Chandravali's group, who are very, very docile, submissive and everything. But it's the Vamya Bhava, Radharani's Bhava, kind of challenging. And she has these kind of views, that just Prabhuji is talking about now.
Yes, Prabhu. Absolutely. So they feel that hearing about Krishna Katha from others than Krishna is deadly. Why is that? If anybody wants to read that, what is the explanation they give for that?
Because Krishna is personally telling the Harikatha. So when Krishna himself is narrating it, it is very, very sweet. And if somebody else is narrating it, they don't absorb it in the same ecstasy as Krishna, narrates it, and it causes them more pain. Like you said, it's a reverse impact. Yes. So even though it is about Krishna, but it is not as sweet as Krishna narrates it.
Why it is so? Because when you hear from someone else reciting that, so these particular gopis, Vamya Bhava gopis, that reminds them again about him, about Krishna, right? Separation.
Yes, and
but when you
separated.
hear directly from Krishna, then they feel good about it. You explained that way. I'm just paraphrasing that.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. I mean, they are also, I think, indirectly telling him about. Yeah, that's what we want. Okay, yes, we'll continue with that. Now, the next is again, what was the conclusion of gopis on hearing Harikatha? This is again for us, so I will read that. So here again, they are summarizing that again, the Vamya Bhava gopis, that actually it has caused all good fortune to be destroyed or severed, and they have disturbed and spoiled our lives. So they are just, I think these are complaints coming out of extreme love, right? So for us, it's very important that we hear this Krishna Katha, right? So continuing last two slides and questions. So what is the lesson that gopis emphasize on urgency of hearing Krishna Katha or Hari Katha?
To have quick transformations of the heart.
So the urgency and here is that the potency of, yes, Mataji, thank you very much, that the potency of Harikatha is it can give us a quick transformation in our heart and mind, and it helps us align with the divine love. So we must, as Prabhuji started, Nashta Prayasho Bhadashu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, right? So Nityam Bhagavatam classes must be attended. So I will skip this slide and come to the last one. Again, here, I mean, I will finish that. It's continuing with the thought of touch Shanat, like Hari Katha can lead us to transformation immediately. It reflects the idea that the divine grace can instantaneously change a heart and consciousness. So leave with the thought that, and the gratitude to Prabhu that because of your service, we get to hear this every weekend. The weekend starts with, for us who are in Asia, morning, the weekend starts with Hari Katha, and throughout the day we find, like now with this, we find ourselves thinking through about Lord Hari or Lord Krishna and this wonderful relation with gopis. So with that, I stop and hand over to you, Prabhu. Thank you. Please complete if I miss anything.
You're wonderful, Prabhu. You're really wonderful. But this is paraspara, It's because you are there. That is my incentive, to do all these PowerPoints, and I learned that way my own transformation and realizations, and perhaps I'm going through some situation. I'll tell you some personal realizations I had, and not today. I'll tell you probably next week. I'll tell you, some very unique realizations I got that. So any kind of difficulties or certain things that's going in our lives, there's always a positive side of it, There's a silver lining on the cloud. So that is what kind of realization I had, that I'm still going through a very severe situation, Uh, uh, so so what I'm saying, because you are there, all of you, for whom I make these PowerPoints, in a way, how it helps me. So you are the conduit, means you are the one through which I connect with the Lord. That is what I'm trying to share with you. Okay, so let's get into it. Hare Krishna again. Please accept my humble obeisances. Hare
Probably I
Krishna.
just had one small realization.
Yeah.
Okay. Please continue sharing your screen, but because it's like a family here. So yesterday, one of our colleagues from Japan, he stopped by and met, and both of us were discussing. This is, you often say that, like, how we both went through the same stage in life. At one stage, like, we would have lost our job, or we were like clueless. We have family, how we will take care, what will happen, and all. Like, we went through these phases one after another, and then
Yeah.
today we stand where, like, everything is taken care of. Like, my elder son is now almost completing his engineering, one more year.
Wonderful.
The younger son is on the way. Parents were taken, like, so through this wonderful
Yeah.
devotion, like, I think Krishna has taken care of everything for us. So thank you, Prabhu. Just a
He's
short
teaching
realization.
us at different stages of our life. So many things he's teaching us, if you really pay attention to it. So even in negative elements that might be happening, there's certain positive aspect of it. That is what I was trying to hint at. Okay, since time is very short, we got to rush. So much we need to cover, and this lesson is also, this whole entire, this Gopi Git. It's so much to learn about it. So much there. We don't have much time, but we are just scratching the surface. Actually, so much depth is there in that. Okay, first let me share my screen with you. Okay, so I'm assuming everybody is able to see the slide, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so this is as I always show you, what are the themes that we'll be covering in a given lesson. So this is, now we are talking about, again, this is the theme 9th, okay, of the entire 10th canto we are talking about. So this is lesson 69 and this chapter 31. So we are going to be talking about the second aspect of it. First aspect was very important, of course. Second aspect is verses 10 through 19, and they are totally told 10 to 19. Totally 19 verses are there in this Gopi Gita. Okay. So this is the rundown of those verses that I'm showing you here. And the verse 10, the most important element, that we must all memorize this thing, really. The 4 phrases describing Sri Krishna's captivating features. How does Krishna captivates, binds us with him? That is what we are learning through 4 aspects that gopis are pointing out, that, so all these are very auspicious to meditate upon. They touch our hearts, however agitating our minds as well. Okay. So first of all, Krishna's smile. Sanskrit word is prahasitam. His smile. So gopis are saying that your smile is very enticing. His affectionate glance, the sidelong glance, typical way Krishna looks at them, with love. Priya prema vikshananam. To iksha means to see, vikshanam even more, just like jnana and vijnana. When you have a prefix v, that increases the intensity of that. So, and third aspect is intimate pastimes with the gopis, viharanam. And the fourth and last but not least, is called Rahasi Samvido. Samvada means dialogue that's happening. So you recreate that. It means his secret communication with them only through his eyes. So these lovers, these divine lovers, they used to communicate through eyes only, actually. See, when there are elderly is present, like when the forest they go, Lord Balaram is there all the time, except few times. So when Balaram is there and Krishna walks behind him, and he looks at the gopis sideways, actually, and sends a message and says to them that we are going to meet. Actually, even though when Krishna went to forest, gopis used to come there actually many times, because at predetermined places that they determine, that we'll see the Sanketa. Sanketa has two different meanings. Sanketa means to give some secret messages, very, very confidential messages, And there's actually a place, even today it exists too, Sanketa. I think Sharad Prabhuji probably toward the end of the class, he's going to talk about it because he is very familiar with nooks and corners of entire Braja. And he'll tell you there is a place called this Sanketan. That's where Krishna and the gopis used to meet secretly. So these four aspects that gopis are remembering that, So that we will see in verse 10. So we are going to talk a little bit in detail. And then verses 11 through 14, here your lotus feet fulfill the desires of all who bow down to them. So the importance of Lord's lotus feet, that is being emphasized here, and then nectar of his lips, which is thoroughly relished by your vibrating flute, and they are actually jealous of that flute also, makes people to forget any other attachment. This is the way to really material miseries that we all experience, to divert our mind from that to Krishna's Katha Amrita, That is the essence when we say that tasting Krishna's nectar of lips is basically hearing Krishna Katha about him, everything about him, Then verses 15 through 16, a tiny fraction of a second, 1/16 of a second, that they are blaming Lord Brahma, who created these leads. Why did he create that? Because even it is a 1/16 of a second during that blink, they cannot see Krishna and they cannot tolerate that, Verse 17 through 18, please give us the bit of that medicine which counteracts the disease in your devotees' hearts. We'll see the significance of that also. And the final verse 19, your tender feet might be wounded. So they are worried about Krishna's feet are very, very soft, extremely soft. And he does not wear shoes when he goes to forest. And I told you once before, when Yashoda Maya insisted that he should wear some, because the forest path is full of thorns and rough things and so on like that, and his feet being so komala, so soft, it'll get hurt, So Krishna said, are the cows also wearing the shoes? Obviously not. So if the cows are not wearing shoes, why should I wear too? That's the reason he used to go barefooted everywhere, So gopis are feeling bad that you're going around the forest. We all the time worry that your feet are going to suffer because of so many sharp things around there, So please place it on our breast. And even there also we are worried that our breasts are not soft enough to sustain your softness of your lotus feet. It's so very poetically put forward, Okay. So what is the sidelong glance? Look at that picture. These pictures are showing side by side. The gopis are way in the village and Krishna is in the forest and he's sending the message through his flute. And look at this, looking at the sidelong glance. So these gopis are remembering all those pastimes, and pointing out that, So these four elements that I just showed you, prahasitam, priya prema vikshanam, viharanam, and Rahas is Samvido. So first is smile, his affectionate sidelong glance with love, showing right in this picture, and his intimate pastimes with the gopis. They should always focus, remembering the good times they spent together. If you focus on that, even during Vipralamba, you will not feel that pain. Krishna had sent that message through Uddhavji when he was informed that gopis are near death. You better go there. Uddhavji was really pleading with him, please go, you know. And last but not least, his communications with them only through his eyes only. That's why I give an example. How when elders are there, he would send messages through his eyes, and gopis understood what he meant actually, what he's saying. That is the wonderful element of that. Okay, so verse 10. Prahasitam priya prema vikshanam viharanam chate dhyana mangalam rahasi samvido ya hridi sparsha, touching my heart, you know. Kuhakam no manah shobhyanti. So your smiles, your sweet, loving glances, the intimate pastimes and confidential talks we enjoyed with you. So all four elements, gopis are remembering that. All these are auspicious to meditate upon, and they touch our hearts. But at the same time, O deceiver, they very much agitate our minds. Okay. So when Krishna goes out with his countless friends to herd the cows, this is the example I just giving here. That when Lord Balaram, it's just one case, but even in Braja village also, when elders are there, parents are there, Krishna still is to communicate with the gopis through eyes only. His glance fully expresses the longing in his heart. Let us meet at Sanketa. Now, so that place became known as Sanketa. The Sanketa means very confidentially, secretly sending that message through the eyes. That's the very meaning Sanskrit word Sanketa means actually, you know. So they read his glance and understands his message. Gopis understood perfectly well, you know. They used to communicate through the eyes, and sometimes you can speak volumes through the eyes. So this is what that is mean, that these four elements of Krishna. We all must memorize that, okay? The gopis became overwhelmed with the pain of separation from Krishna upon remembering his smile, his heart-touching ways, and also his tricky, joking words, full of multiple meanings. That's what Krishna is all about, parokshava, you know. He never says something in the simple. Everything, whatever he speaks, there is a multiple ways you can derive its meaning. And they're all true, even though sometimes paradoxical, but they all make sense. So gopis become overwhelmed with the pain of separation from Krishna upon remembering his smile, his heart-touching ways, and also his tricky, joking words, full of multiple meanings. Madhurashtakam that we did today, right? Everything is Madhura, sweet, whatever Krishna does that. So they should secretly meet him in a Sanketa Kunja. There are places predetermined, and all the Manjaris and Sakis used to arrange that place for Sri Radha and Krishna. Early in the morning, he goes to the Yamuna river, saying that he's going to. So see, like how they used to say, they used to meet in different kinds of pretext. Krishna will tell Yashoda Maya, I'm going for a bath to Yamuna, so we'll go there. And he knew the gopis will also come there, Yamuna, to fetch water for their homely needs, you know. And so gopis will be also there. So gopis also knew Krishna will be coming at a certain time in Yamuna, and Krishna also knew that, you know. So early morning he goes to Yamuna river, saying that he's going to take a bath, but he does not take bath. He simply stands under a Kadamba tree on Yamuna's bank, waiting for the gopis, whom he knows will come there daily to fill their pots with water. On pretext such as this, he arranged to go wherever they go. That's exactly how they used to do that. And look at this picture and see how Krishna sends a message actually. This picture you saw it before also. This picture is when the wives of the Brahmanas come there in the village. When the Sakhas, he sent a message through Sakhas that Krishna and Balaramas are very hungry. They need food. The husbands denied that, and they neglected that. They ignored that request, but their wives understood that. So they come there with the food and everything prepared. So here, when they saw this Krishna right here, so that picture, so it's in a different context, but I'm showing you this in the context these gopis are saying now. Okay, pay attention, please. So they tell their superiors they are going to perform worship. So how the gopis is to say pretext to their elders, rather I would say to her mother-in-law that they are going there, Jatila, and her sister-in-law named Kutila, so they would say some pretext that we need to go to the forest and to worship Surya Dev. Radharani's deity is Surya Dev. Everybody knows that. Or sometimes there's a Gauri Puja. That's the concept of Lord Shiva, Parvati. So on that pretext, they will go there, So, but sometimes just as they are about to meet Krishna, one of their superiors comes along, like Jatila or Chandravali's husband, Govardhan Malla. He was a wrestler, Chandravali's husband, actually, So sometimes they foil the plan, actually, and they have to do something else then, The gopis, in Radha Tattva course that we covered a lot of things, this thing. The gopis proceeded to give an example of the third of Krishna's charming features, namely his confidential pastimes, Viharanam. The way you strolled past us with one hand on the shoulder of your friend, the other hand twirling a lotus. Look at this picture. So Krishna's one hand is on the shoulder of his Gopa friend, and the other hand he has a lotus, and lotus is twirling around. Okay, so what message is sending to the gopis actually? That I want to put my hands on your shoulders, on you, and is twirling lotus. That is also a secret meaning here. So he said, I want to be with you and place my hands on your shoulder. Similarly, he twirls the lotus to convey to them, my mind and heart spin with a desire to be with you, twirling that lotus. That if I cannot meet with you, I will die. So that's what he would say that, So he sends the gopi signals like this when he is with his cowherd friends. And the gopis perceive them from afar and understands them perfectly well. So with little subtle messages, you would say a lot in that, And the gopis and Krishna both will understand each other. Venu Gita is sung is Purva Raga, that we heard about it, and the Gopi Gita is sung in Vipralamba, opposite of it, which takes place after meeting. Still, even in that separation, the gopis may think we have never met with Krishna. The first meaning of Viharanam is to walk with the friends, referred to Purvaraga. So our Acharya is explaining that, But when the gopis speak of any pastime that took place after they met with Krishna, after Purvaraga, okay, such as his walking along with Radhika, Lalita, Vishakha, Chitra, and so on, then the second meaning, walking with the lady, applies actually, So they had a secret understanding when they say something, what actually Krishna means. And this phrase, this is a fourth element, Rahasi Samvido, also has its uniqueness. Krishna loving talks with the gopis so deeply touch their hearts that they become embedded there. So everything what did, so all these things that happened in the past, they are remembering, okay, in Vipralamba. As a result, the gopis cannot remove remembrance of this because they are imprinted on their mind, actually, all these previous things, even if they desperately wants to do that, also they would do that, So what is the conclusion? We believe that these interactions were based on true love, but now we see that you are nothing but a cheater. So this is a Vamya Bhav Gopis, actually. They will say this thing, that all these things are really, after all, it was cheating on your part. And you are a hypocrite because you said to meet, but you disappeared from us. You called us in the middle of night here, and now you're saying go back and everything, and now you totally disappeared. So you are a cheater in that sense. You never spoke to us from the core of your heart. You spoke only to cheat us. If you had any love and affection for us at all, you would appear before us, but you do not. So if you really care for us, you should have been here. You should have shown yourself right here personally, okay? But obviously you are not going to do that. We know that because we know your very nature, that you are like that. You want to cause pain in our heart. And you derive pleasure out of that. So our Acharya is giving philosophical viewpoints about those things in a very interesting way. So this verse beautifully encapsulates the intense emotions and complexity of love, a longing, and the bittersweet nature of separation. So this is what I'm telling you, bittersweet. It's causing pain, and yet paradoxically, it also helps us, gives pleasant feelings. So that allows us to remember you. That's what gopis are transmitting that. The gopis express a deep yearning to be with Krishna, reflecting on his enchanting smile, tender glances, and intimate pastimes that stir their hearts and heighten their desire to connect with him. Everything is connected with that. Everything. The end result is like that. To enjoy the pleasure of the meeting, eventually they will meet. Okay? But to create that longing for that happiness, you need to go through this vipralamba. You need to go through the sufferings, of separation from him. Then you will understand when we actually meet, you will really relish our meeting then. The interplay of joy and pain is like it's the two sides of a coin, actually. Vipralamba and Sambhoga is evident as they acknowledge how his presence initially brings happiness, but ultimately leads to suffering in his absence. The gopis recognize Krishna's playful nature, interpreting his actions as both alluring and deceptive. They feel cheated by his charm, but the cheating is also sweet. Everything is about him is sweet, His affectionate gestures and words seem to promise closeness while ultimately leading to longing and heartache. The concept of Purvaraga, the anticipation and desire to meet one's beloved, plays a significant role. This is what Acharya is saying, that in their emotional landscape, Krishna's deliberate actions to encounter the gopis, often under the guise of mundane activities, reveal a profound understanding of their hearts. See that's we are getting a snapshot of this intimate pastimes through that, the feelings for each other. The gopis' clever excuses to meet Krishna highlight their own determination, and the gopis will take a great risk in doing that. In Radhatva, we saw a lot of examples. Sometimes Krishna will go near Radharani's home, and a Kadamba tree is there. On the top of the tree, he will be there and waiting for the right opportunity when Radha comes out. But Radharani was stopped by her mother-in-law, Jatila, and Kutila, sister-in-law, and they would occupy in some kind of homely chore, So Radharani couldn't come out like that, and Krishna would be keep on waiting there, Krishna highlights their own determination and a creativity navigating the social constraints, emphasizing their deep love and devotion. As the remnants about their encounters, the gopis articulate a hierarchy of their experiences with Krishna. His smiles, loving glances, playful pastimes, and secret conversation. These are the 4 elements, remember, that we saw in that slide, verse number 10. These 4 elements play a very critical role in their Krishna and the gopis interplay. Each aspect is cherished with the last ras is samvida. Last one is remembering the good times they spent together. It's like a regurgitate manana. Study karna hai, fir manana karna hai, na? Being the most treasured, as it signifies a deep emotional and spiritual connection that transcends physical presence. See that? Okay. This is again the verse 10 continues. So much depth is there in just that one verse 10. So number 5, 6, and 7. Number 5, ultimately the words speak to the complexity of love, the tension between joy and sorrow, and the deep spiritual longing that characterizes the gopis' devotion to Krishna. Everything is about gopis' intense love, intense longing, and that longing keeps on increasing in their separation from Krishna, deliberately created by Krishna. Okay? So their feelings are a reminder of the universal themes of love, desire, and aches of separation, resonating deeply with anyone who has experienced similar emotions in their own lives. So we as a devotees also must do the same thing. The philosophical, so just recalling their wonderful pastimes with the gopis, Krishna's pastime and gopis itself, when we do ourselves, then that allows us to divert our mind from our current sufferings, in physical world. That's what it does that, just I'm trying to connect. It's not just between Krishna and the gopis, how that can really help us too also. The philosophical significance of Krishna's 4 captivating phrases. What are the 4? Keep remembering that, His smile, his affectionate glance with prema, intimate pastimes with the gopis, and his secret communication with the gopis headed by Sri Radhe, only through his eyes to meet with him in a secret place in the forest. Sakhis used to, arrange this thing. Of course, everything is under the arrangement by Yogamaya. Everything is there. Then Manjaris, when they actually meet, Manjaris will prepare the kunja for that meeting. The 4 captivating phrases, not phases, but phrases, of Krishna described in verse 10, his smile, prahasitam, his affectionate glance, prema vikshanam. Iksha means to see, vikshanam intensely saying that, intimate pastimes, viharanam, and secret communication, rahasi samveda, hold profound philosophical significance, particularly within the context of bhakti, devotional service, and the nature of divine relationship. So we are really, everything we are learning about this devotional, the divine love, which is completely on a spiritual platform. That is what we are focusing on that. And when we focus on that, having material body, then purifies our heart from our so-called material lust in our heart. The key thematic elements in the philosophical number 1 to 4. Now we are talking about specific thematic elements. Okay. So together, these 4 phases that we are just talking about here, his smile. Now see how much our acharyas have really analyze each aspect of these 4 phrases. So the entire class today is to really pay attention to these 4 phrases. And it is a direct relevance to our present day lives also here in material world. Smile, Krishna smiles, symbolizes joy, warmth, and divine allure that draws the gopis toward him. And to hear about them, that help us also, philosophically, this reflects the nature of divine grace, where a simple gesture can evoke deep spiritual longing and connection. It represents the initial spark of attraction that ignites love. Look at these wordings, illustrating. These are not my words, of course, obviously. How divine beauty can captivate the heart and lead one to path of devotion. It's their love, confidential love between the gopis and Krishna. But that hearing about that is our devotional service. That's what I'm trying to draw your attention to it. Second aspect is prema vikshanam. The affectionate glances carry deeper emotional significance as they convey mutual recognition and intimacy. These glances symbolizes the exchange of love between the divine and the devotees. Okay, that's what you need to see that through that angle. Okay. Philosophically, they signify the idea that true connection transcends the words. So, communicating through eyes, what it says that their words are not necessary actually. Okay, there is no necessity of words. Even this carries much more than the words spoken words. It is through the eyes and heart that profound understanding and affection are communicated. See, that a lot more can be said about that, just seeing through eyes at a distance. This aspect emphasizes the importance of personal relationship with the divine and the transformative power of love. Intimate pastimes, viharanam. The intimate pastimes represent the playful, loving interaction between Krishna and the gopis, illustrating the concept of divine play, lila. Now, Krishna lila that we are talking about, and hearing that itself is so wonderful, so with deep ramifications are there actually. The aspect of Krishna's nature emphasizes the joy and spontaneity in spiritual relationship. I told you before, remember, one of the 6 questions of the stages of Naimisharanya, why did Krishna appear as the son of, both Yashodamaya as well as Devaki, is to really enact those sweet pastimes, and hearing those sweet pastimes itself will help us to come to the mode of goodness. Then we become qualified to become free from this material existence. So that's simply hearing these things, and this is what actually being amplified. What is hearing about those pastimes between gopis and Krishna, the secret arrangement to meet somewhere, and so on like that. From a philosophical standpoint, it conveys that divine is not only transcendent, but also immanent in the world. So it has a direct relevance to even this day and age. That's what our Acharya is hinting at that. It conveys that divine is not only transcendent, but also immanent, right, on this even material world, engaging with devotees in a way that is both joyful and fulfilling. So just like in Vipralamba, gopis were feeling pain, but at the same time pleasure is also there. Same way in our material difficulties, ordinary conditioned souls, and this is a part of our territory. Material world is designed to give difficulties. So within the difficulties, you have to consider that as like Vipralamba, And more we remember here about Krishna and Gopi's pastimes, it will give us that pleasure also, even in difficulties. Because that takes our mind away from that. This pastime reflects the essence of bhakti. That's the very essence of bhakti, where love is expressed through playful interactions, highlighting the idea that devotion is a dynamic and living experience. Then about the Rahasya Samvida, the secret communication. So these four elements that we see, that four phrases in their words, each has a far-reaching consequences and implications. That is what our acharyas are pointing out to us. Actually, it's not just a philosophical thing; it's much deeper, practical. The secret communication, especially with Sri Radhe and the gopis, emphasizes the intimate and personal nature of divine connection. These private exchanges signify deep trust and understanding, reflecting the highest form of love that is often reserved for the closest relationship. Philosophically, this aspect suggests that most profound connections with the divine often occur in moments of solitude and intimacy. These are the two key words: solitude and intimacy, that we must keep in mind. Away from the public eye, it illustrates the idea that true love flourishes in privacy, where the heart can express itself freely without external distractions. So things are going around, of course, all right? Gopis and Krishna has to communicate. Other things are there. Elderly people, all other things are going on. But they bypass all these things to communicate each other. Same way in our lives, all the material difficulties, material things, everything is going on. But at the same time, when we reenact all these wonderful communications that Krishna and the gopis had, then that will help us to take our mind off our present day difficulties. That's what actually the way I see it, Okay, 11 verses 11 through 14. Dear Master, verse 11. Dear lover, when you leave the coward village, this is now Gopi Git is continuing there, to herd the cows, our minds are disturbed with the thought of that your feet, more beautiful than lotus, will be pricked by the spiked husk of grain and the rough grass and plants. So these gopis are really painfully focusing that Krishna must be running around the forest, and his soft feet, how he must be going through that, difficulties, pain. At the end of the day, you repeatedly show us your lotus face, covered with dark blue locks of hair and thickly powdered with dust that is created by the hoofs of the cows, Thus, oh hero, you arouse lusty desires in our mind. Now, that is not material lust we are talking about, prema. The lotus feet, which are worshipped by Lord Brahma, fulfill the desires of all who bow down to them. They are the ornaments of earth that give the highest satisfaction, and in times of danger, they are the appropriate object of meditation. O lover, you who destroyer of anxiety, please put those lotus feet upon our rest. So gopis are final appeal they are making there. O hero, kindly distribute to us the nectar of your lips, which enhances the conjugal pleasure and the vanquishes grief. That nectar is thoroughly relished by your vibrating flute and makes people forget any other attachment. Gopi Gita, longing for divine love, now 11:14, the philosophical aspect of it. So these verses illustrate the intense emotional dance landscape of the gopis, expressing both the deep affection for Krishna and the pain that comes from their separation. The gopis engage in a dialogue with their minds. So everything is going in their mind, actually, what they are saying, everything. Okay, Krishna is not there, but Krishna is secretly watching them. from the bushes, you know. And these gopis are creating those things mentally. Second point, there is a vivid depiction of their sorrow as they reflect on Krishna's well-being, worrying about his tender feet and the thorns he might encounter while tending the cows, their minds chilling their emotions, questioning why they lament when Krishna willingly ventures into the forest. This inner struggle is rich with devotion, highlighting the depth of their love and the complexities of their feelings. The gopis then turn to praise Krishna, acknowledging. So there are paradoxical things going on. On one hand, they are criticizing Krishna. Another thing, they are praising him also, acknowledging his role as a source of happiness and seeking his forgiveness for any perceived offenses. Their plea reveals a desire for his presence, using metaphors that convey their longing and the transformative power of his love. In the final verses, the gopis like Krishna to a divine physician and say, we are suffering, so we obviously have some disease, so you give us the medicine to cure this suffering, cure our disease. That's the spirit of this, what they are saying now. So this narrative captures the essence of devotion, and this is the divine devotion we are talking about, okay? The pain of separation and the hope for reunion, embodying a rich tradition of bhakti literature that resonates with many who experience the complexity of love and longing. Without longing, love cannot be experienced, that kind of love. Okay, let's take a break here. And see. We can take a break, and if you have some questions, we can talk about that also.
Prabhu, Sanket means Ishara also?
Yeah, that's
Ishara.
exactly meaning. Sanket means in a very confidential way, इशारा से बात करते हैं ना.
हाँ, तो वो कहावत है ना प्रभु जी, समझने वाले को इशारा ही काफी है.
हाँ,
तो
बस.
यही कृष्ण कर रहे हैं.
वो एक गीत भी है ना, समझने वाले समझ गए, ना समझे वो अनाड़ी है.
हाँ.
यूं तो हमने लाख कोशिश की. तो मतलब ये बात ये they used to talk so much through eyes, you know.
Basically, it means non-verbal communication, which is actually more effective than verbal communication. Like here, in this case, Krishna is using his gestures, his facial expressions, his eye contact. These are all used to convey the emotions and intentions. And besides that, he keeps, like we have already spoken, Karnayo Karnikaram, he keeps one flower on the one ear. That indicates something. If it is kept on the other ear, it indicates something. If it is placed on the other way around, that means it means something. They had a lot of non-verbal communication because in front of their elders, they hesitated to speak. Like here also, we came to know the gopis, they used to go to for worship of Gauri and worship of the sun god. And at that time, a lot of people, there are many stories also. If you know the stories, then it will be much more interesting. How
some of the stories we heard in Radha Tattva course, remember?
Even once Jatila came at that time, and how Jatila was taken to some other place, and Krishna and Radha met, and Jatila could not know anything about that, like this. And there are so many things. And Krishna always uses all these means to just influence the gopis, rather contact with the gopis. Here, please remember that the gopis, they are most intimate, they know what is required by Krishna, and they have been associated with him from time immemorial. So all these things are there, and actually Krishna does not require any of those things, but these are to give pleasure to his devotees. That's why he comes to this material world. When he is in Golak Vrindavan, he cannot be contacted by anybody. Nobody can see him, nobody can contact him. But when he comes, and that is to give the devotees pleasure. That is what is the basic meaning.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Yeah, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So when you talk about confidential, conversation, Prabhuji, how you understand? You think of devotee and the Lord here, right? Because other things you can understand. His glances, his smile, you can understand meeting him, a pastime. All these things are there. So what kind of, is there anything Acharya says confidential conversation? I know. So I still find out difficult to because it's a between devotee and even though in some Madhur Rasa, devotee and the Lord, right?
Yes.
Like you would have heard when Uddhava came to Braja, he wanted to convey, and when the gopis were convinced that he is representing Krishna, then what happened? They took him to a secluded place so that others, elders, should not be able to hear what they were talking intimately to Uddhava, who had brought the message from Krishna. So they do not want the association of their elders. But amongst them, there is not much secret.
Okay, Prabhuji, let's continue. Then toward the end of the class, we can continue this discussion. So much more to discuss about it. So these are the thematic elements, the nature of divine love. Everything, all this these days we've been talking about all this Panchadhyay is about divine love. The gopis' love for Krishna exemplifies the ideal of selfless devotion. What is that selfless devotion? That how I can please my beloved. And when my beloved gets pleased, then that is my pleasure. That's the whole essence of the divine love that we are talking about. Unlike the so-called love that is on a material platform, that how I can be pleased, how can I derive maximally by my beloved. So their love is characterized by longing and suffering and intense emotional connection that transcends worldly concern. Now, this is very important. That's what I keep telling you all about it. Even our present day difficulties, if you pay attention to this, what all this in preparing for these classes, preparing the PowerPoints, that helps me to take away my attention, my mental anguish, what's going on. That doesn't mean that things that is troubling me is going to disappear. It will be there, okay? But when I do these things, engage my mind doing that thing, because ultimately those are all illusions. Those difficulties we face on material world, they are really kind of illusions in the sense they play a very minor role actually. That is the symptomatic presence of material existence. But when we return to what's happening in this between Krishna and the gopis and this Vraja Lila, all these things, then takes that us uplifts from material plane to spiritual plane. Okay. When you get the realization of spirituality, then you'll realize this material sufferings, everything is nothing but just a bad dream, nightmare. We need to wake up from that So that's what I've been trying to tell you, that, the tension between joy and sorrow in love illustrates the true love is both joy and sorrow. Both are side by side. You cannot separate from one from another. In love illustrates the duality of human experience. This theme resonates with the concept of divine love. That's all divine love is all about. Where the devotee's pain of separation, Vipralamba, is seen as a necessary counterpart to bliss of union, Sambhoga. The struggle of the mind, Manas, this also plays a very important role. The dialogue between the gopis in their minds highlights the inner conflict between desires and Rashmi. So this is what Krishna creates deliberately, the separation, so the gopis can have the experience. What is it like separation? The mind often presents doubts and fears, challenging the purity of their devotion. The struggle reflects a broader themes in Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. What is that? Regarding the nature of the mind, its role in spiritual practice. It resonates with concepts from Vedanta and Yoga, where control over the mind is essential for attaining the highest state of consciousness and spiritual realization. So this is what calming our mind, the vrittis that we talked about in another course, Yoga Sutra course. Remember we talked about the Yoga Sutras? So that's where we are talking about the meditation, right? Meditation, the supreme. So that we are talking about the impersonal meditation, right? But here we are talking about personal meditation on the pastimes between Krishna and the gopis. That's much more effective. That's how your vrittis in our mind becomes stabilized. Vrittis are like waves. Pain in pleasure of devotion. The gopis articulate their suffering due to separation from Krishna, framing it within the context of their love. Their pain is not merely an obstacle, but a catalyst for deeper devotion and longing. See that? It works like a catalyst. You have to look it from that point of view. And what it catalyzes? The deep devotion, deep longing for Krishna. So this struggle reflects a broader theme in Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy regarding the nature of their mind, its role in spiritual practice. It resonates. So no other sampradaya gives this kind of depth than this Gaudiya Vaishnava sampradaya. So this Gaudiya sampradaya is exactly Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Radhe, and Krishna combined. Okay, so he knows exactly what's going on from both perspectives, and that is what the Gaudiya Vaishnava sampradaya is all about. And he revealed that all this to the 6 Goswamis. Okay, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and so on like that. And those Goswamis are the one that put it in written form with scriptural foundation and letting us share this thing and this today's world, So this is what greatness about Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. It resonates with concept with Vedanta Yoga. So there are complex philosophies there, Yoga, Vedanta, and everything. But we are talking about Prabhupada used to say Bhakti Vedanta. The Vedanta is a dry philosophy, okay, talking about Brahman, not personal aspect of Krishna Supreme. But here that we are talking about especially in a personal way. So it's called Bhakti Vedanta, where control of the mind is essential for attaining the higher state of consciousness and spiritual realization. Number 4, the gopis plead for Krishna's forgiveness. So they said some very, in anger, they said a lot of things, right? Now they're feeling a little bit remorse about that. So that's why they're pleading for his forgiveness, illustrating the belief in the divine's readiness to pardon and embrace devotees regardless of their failings. So this is also, we also pray to Krishna that please forgive our shortcomings and please help us, to be with you. Let us engage us in hearing your pastimes. That is, we need to pray, not just remove our sufferings. Because our sufferings are like Vipralamba. Okay. Only in suffering we remember Krishna. Okay. So when Krishna hears that, then he helps us, So ours is also like Gopi Gita in a way, if you think about it, And this theme emphasizes the concept of God's grace, Kripa Shakti, Icha Shakti. I told you about before also in connection with another verse. His Icha Shakti is there, but Icha Shakti, when does work? He sees whether or not we have necessary qualifications. But His grace, regardless of our qualifications, even if we are fallen, He is merciful to us. So His grace is always more than Icha Shakti. Okay. So compassionate nature comes about. And of course, that's where the Radharani plays a role. Unlike his desire, his grace overrules the devotee's eligibility consideration. So he doesn't care whether we are qualified or not. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Gaudiya Sampradaya is all about that, especially for fallen souls. He's more merciful to us. The gopis' understanding of Krishna's nature as a source of happiness and relief reflects the belief and belief, wonderful, that true liberation comes from surrendering to divine will. Besides, a devotee never accepts liberation, even offered by the Lord. So bhakti is always beyond liberation. The symbolism of the body and the divine. The gopis' desire for Krishna to place his lotus feet on their breast symbolizes. So this is what you should not think from the material lusty point of view. What's its deeper meaning? That's shown here by our acharyas. The breast symbolizes the intimate connection between the divine and the devotee. Before jumping to a hasty conclusion that it was probably the gopis' mundane lusty desire, one must be very careful to note. Now, this is what I read that, okay? Careful to note that Braja gopis, whose very soul is the personification of devotional attachment, Rati, unto the Lord, Ragatmika Bhaktas, and the Nitya Siddhas, or the eternally perfected souls who descended to the material world as part of his entourage, are on the same transcendental platform as that of the Lord. The gopis as eternal associates. They descended as part of his entourage when Krishna descended in the material world to teach us what his divine love is all about. So this theme resonates with the idea of the body as a temple of the divine. So you see, this is very nice. The body is material body. Nonetheless, you can spiritualize this by placing the deity of the Lord and the gopis Shradha, So that is how we can spiritualize this material body. In Bhakti literature, the physical body is often viewed as medium through which spiritual experience can be manifested. So see, this is a positive way of looking at the material body. Because only through material body we render devotional service. Same body-mind complex that keeps us in material plane, material existence, same body-mind complex utilized in Krishna's service, then we become released, completely become freed. So that's the thematic point, thematic depth that our acharyas are giving us. Transcendence of material attachment. So the gopis express a desire to transcend worldly attachments, exemplified in their longing for Krishna's presence over material concerns. This reflects the philosophical stance means position, that true fulfillment comes from spiritual rather than material pursuits. The gopis' rejection of societal norms in favor of their devotion to Krishna illustrate the transformative power of love, which liberates them from conventional attachment. This doesn't mean that we should see gopis gave up everything. We are not gopis, okay? So we don't need to give up those things, material duties, material suffering, everything will be there, part of our life. But through which that we can still serve and meditate on Krishna's pastimes that we are hearing in the Bhagavatam, you know. So that's why Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Bhagavati Uttama Sloke, Bhakti Bhavati Naishtake. So that Naishtake Bhakti, once started, once sprouted, it's going to keep growing that, you know. So that is what the way we ought to look at it. Verses 15, 16. When you go off to the forest, so this is what gopis are worried about, his lotus feet might be getting hurt. So dear Achyuta, you know very well why we have come here. Who but a cheater like you would abandon young women who come to see him in the middle of the night, enchanted by the loud songs of his flute. Just to see you, we have completely rejected our husbands, children, ancestors, brothers. That well, to see, nobody can do that. Only gopis can do that. Who can do that? You know. Longing and jealousy. So, verse 15, the gopis express their profound sense of separation from Krishna, illustrating how even a moment away from him feels like an eternity, yugas. Their longing is so intense that they perceive the briefest interruptions like blink of an unbearable loss that we just spoke about, right? 1/16th of a second during which the eyes blink, they couldn't afford not seeing Krishna. 16. The gopis confront Krishna, feeling slighted despite their devotion and longing for him. Their jealousy and disappointment become evident as they question his infallibility. When he appears to have it let them down, when Krishna suggests they tolerate their pain, the gopis challenge him, highlighting the injustice of rejecting those who have come to him out of love, especially at night. So this is again they are recalling that when they came and Krishna was telling him to go back, but actually they are understood. Krishna wanted them to stay with him. You know, the inner desire of Krishna, they recognize it. So these verses not only reflect the gopis' intense love and longing for Krishna, but also portray the complexities of divine love. Everything is divine love that we are learning there. Okay? Where emotions such as jealousy, disappointment, yearning intervene. They fight with Krishna. They say all kind of things to Krishna, but they are all within that supreme love. And that is what pleasing to Krishna. Okay. This is again verse 15 says how much depth. See, there's key elements now. And these thematic elements together weave a rich complexity of devotion, portraying the gopis as embodiment of love and longing while inviting readers to come reflect on their own spiritual journey and emotional experience. See, this is what I'm trying to draw connection between what's happening today in our world right now. It has a direct bearing what we are saying over here, you know. Separation longing, Vipralamba. The intense pain of separation from Krishna symbolizes the soul's longing for the divine. In many spiritual traditions, this longing is seen as a catalyst for deepening our devotion and spiritual awakening. So the gopi's suffering reflects the human experience of seeking connection with the divine amidst worldly distraction and separation. So the worldly difficulties we are experiencing, they kind of if you don't pay attention, they'll distract us. If we focus on that, then that mind is going to be taken off from Krishna platform, Krishna conscious platform. And that we shouldn't do it. The perception of time, the gopis' experience of time illustrate how emotional states can alter our perception and reality. In moments of love and longing, time can stretch or compress. See, that's the beauty part of it, Krishna. It can compress or it can stretch at his will. So if you are focusing on the difficulties, day-to-day difficulties in material world, then it looks like the time is eternal. It's not going to end, you know. But you focus on that, Krishna, then it will pass away. It's like a fraction of a second. And like waking up from a bad dream. Krishna's action and the gopis' responses can be seen as a part of divine play where a drama of love unfolds. This theme encourages a view of life as a sacred play, where human emotions and divine interactions are intricately woven together, prompting devotees to engage with life both joyfully and with reverence. So even our material difficulties, we can feel the pleasure, supreme pleasure. We can feel that. Because anything about Krishna, hearing about it, it's all about sweetness, love, madhurashtakam, fortune and destiny. The gopis attribute their suffering to bad fortune. See that? Look at what, mark those words. Gopis attribute their own suffering to bad fortune, raising questions about destiny and free will. This invites contemplation on the nature of divine will versus individual agency. It suggests that while external circumstances may seem to influence one's spiritual journey, the inner response to those circumstances is crucial for growth. Again, I keep pointing out the day-to-day difficulties we are facing in our world today. Exactly what we are I just read that sentence. That's what we need to look upon, think about like that. Jealousy and desire. The gopis' jealousy highlights the complexity of love. So pranay and mana that we talked about in the Ujjwal Nilabani course, sometimes from mana pranay comes, or from pranay comes mana. So there one is them. You cannot feel jealousy unless that pranay is there, the deep love is there. Unless that, and unless that mana is there, the value of pranaya you cannot realize. This theme resonates with the idea that love is multifaceted and can encompass a range of emotions, including possessiveness and vulnerability. It challenges the notion of idealized love, presenting a more authentic and human experience. When you have time, spare time, you go through these slides again and read each sentences, each block. It'll give you some deeper realizations of that. Unfortunately, I don't have much time now. Okay, let's. So verse 17, and the final verses now. Our minds are repeatedly bewildered as we think of the intimate conversation we had with you. So this is the fourth element. Rahasya Samvedo. You keep reminding yourself, gargadating that wonderful pastimes we had with you. Okay, so this is what gopis are pointing out, that feel the rise of lust in our heart and remember your smiling face, your loving glances, in your broad chest, the resting place, the goddess of fortune. Thus we experience the most severe hankering for you. It creates our longing for you, and that's exactly the objective of Krishna, that gopis are realizing that. Oh beloved, your all auspicious appearance vanquishes the distress of those living in Braja's forest. Our minds long for your association. Please give. So their final appeal they're making now. Okay? And that's what going to cause Krishna to come out and appear in front of that. We'll talk about tomorrow's class. Okay, now this verse illustrates the depth of longing and devotion expressed by the gopis toward Krishna. The words convey emotions, blending feeling of love, anxiety, and desires of closeness with the divine. In these verses, the gopis articulate their overwhelming desires and the pain of separation, revealing how Krishna's presence ignites passion and longing within them. So see that his absence augments, elevates their pain of separation. Krishna's responses further deepen the dialogue as he maintains a playful yet enigmatic demeanor. His indifference to his own suffering raises questions. So Krishna is also actually feeling the pain of separation from gopis, about the nature of love and the sacrifice made its name. The gopis' lamentation about their life being tied to Krishna emphasizes the idea that true experience is rooted in the connection with him. So we need to reconnect with him. Overall, these verses capture the essence of divine love, showcasing the complexity of devotion and the interplay between pleasure and pain in the pursuit of closeness to the beloved. So the pain and suffering is a part of that, being in the divine love. That's always there. Divine longing. Again, this is kind of repeating empathy, selfishness. Okay, I'll stop here. Thank you very much. So we have nearly 35 minutes of discussion, so we can talk more about it. The only thing during discussion, we learn more about it. All these things theoretical, practical aspect we learn in discussion. So it's open for your discussion. So I hope we can have a lively discussion. Haribol.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah, Dandavat Pranam, Mataji.
Wonderful explanation of our Acharya. You have made so wonderful
Yes.
PPT, Prabhuji. Really, it's so nice.
No, I just reproduce what they're saying.
Yes, Prabhuji, but in very nicely way. और हमें
Okay,
समझ
thank you.
हम समझ सके वो तरीके से आपने बहुत अच्छा बनाया प्रभु जी। मगर
Thank you
हमें
very
यही सोचना चाहिए भगवान के लिए कि गोपी गीत से हमें यही शिक्षा प्राप्त होती है कि अगर हम जितना भी भक्ति करेंगे भगवान से, जितना लॉन्गिंग रखेंगे, तो जो भी मटेरियल वर्ल्ड में सफरिंग है उनको सहन करने की शक्ति हमें मिल जाती है।
Exactly, that's the point I've been trying to communicate. You put it much better than I could. Thank you.
सहन करने के मतलब हमें कुछ भी मतलब हम जो देख सकते डे टू डे लाइफ में भी कि
Yeah.
हमें कितनी भी तकलीफ आती मगर हम शांत रह सकते हैं थोड़े, क्योंकि हमारे साथ हम लगते हैं कि कृष्ण हमारे साथ ही है, क्योंकि हम कंटिन्यूस नाम जाप करते हैं तो नाम और भगवान का नाम और भगवान तो अलग है नहीं, तो वो हमें बहुत ही हेल्पफुल होता है प्रभु जी, और हम कुछ भी डिफिकल्टी से बाहर आ सकते हैं जल्दी से।
Very good point. Thank you, Mataji. Appreciate that.
थैंक यू प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. So, Prabhuji, last 2-3 days I was trying to go through the word by word. You this, as you say, so much of the deep meaning, and you try to explain, Prabhuji, some of them so nicely. You need, just by giving the note, it doesn't help us because at least I don't understand. Prabhuji, again, Raksha Mataji put it so nicely. At the end of the longing, remembering him, Lord only takes away from this material world. There's nothing else, right? So, and that can come through, but along with that also we need a sadhana that we are doing. Everything is required. Now, always I have some Prabhuji question, because when we talk about relation with the Lord, we talk about like a gopis goes to the extreme bar. That is, prema, and again go beyond all these things. But also we have also the dasya, sakya, and vatsalya, and then there, right? So we don't look at the shanta rasa. We don't like. So we many times we have been told that how we are to look at the Lord Krishna and Radha. Basically, we have to serve them in a mode of dasya, not to think of like a gopis thinking on that. Because we have to serve them in a dasya mode, on reverence dasya, and at the same time, being in Gaudiya Sampradaya, we understand mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just to understand, right? So, how to see that? Because we have seen so much of the details in, Madhurya Ras, but for us that to connect with Aja in the Dasha mood, Prabhuji, we don't see. Do we have anywhere, the details which are given, like in the Madhurya Ras, which is, basically, again, we are talking how we can give a pleasure to other. Dasha also, that kind of mood is there. Yeah.
No, Acharya's experience is not just Dasya Bhav. Dasya Bhav is in the sadhana level, yes, Dasya Bhav is there. But when you come to Raga platform, then the other rasas also play. But then what our Acharya is recommending, that you don't imagine yourself in that, but you follow what, let's say you want to be the mother or father of Krishna, then you don't think yourself like that, but you follow in the footsteps of Yashoda Maya and Nanda Baba, okay, like that. So even in a Madhurya Bhav, you can have that, but in that sense, you become what's called Manjari Bhava, you become part of Krishna's Sakhis, Manjaris, and how you can help them to serve. And that is the thing that we learn in that course by Raghunath Das Goswami, What was the course name? Forgot.
Manashiksha.
Manasiksha teaches us. So you can have other rasas also, okay? But in following, because those are the Ragatmika Bhaktas. We are Raganuga, okay? So we follow, Anuga means follow, and actually follow not even directly, through Rupanuga. So Rupa Goswami, our Acharya's way of following that, then we can experience. It's not like that we cannot have Madhurya Rasa, but in a Anuga sense, following footsteps, Rupanuga.
Ragatmika Bhaktas, those are, as you mentioned, those are Ragatmika Bhaktas. We follow them, follow them Anuga. So again, Prabhudev, so because we see a lot of example of Hanuman, right? So how he served in the Dasha, so enchanting there. But there also love there, between them and love, which we don't see much. Yeah. So how Hanuman tries to please Lord Ram so nicely. There is a relation between them. But Madhurya Rasa is glorified lot more, as I see here, even though it's the highest, because that's where the Krishna.
Because it's a degree of intimacy. The highest intimacy is Madhurya Rasa. From Dasya Rasa, if you go to Sakhya Rasa, Sakhya Rasa to Vatsalya Rasa, Vatsalya Rasa to Madhurya Rasa, the deepest intimacy is in Madhurya Rasa. That's why. But you need to have that kind of qualifications. You cannot jump like that,
Correct.
Yeah. See, like in friendship, in a respectful way, you address your friend, or in a very atmiya, very confidential way, but you don't act confidential way directly. You have to develop that kind of maturity. Then you can tell your friend also, कि भाई तुम क्या कर रहे हो? आप क्या कर रहे नहीं करते अभी, So intimacy develops. You need to have that kind of qualification also, adhikara. And that comes adhikara. You follow in the footsteps those who have that kind of love, So after all, it's anuga. So if we are not prevented, we can have that Madhurya Rasa with Krishna. See, for me, I always like to see Krishna and Radha together, Where some devotees, they want to see Balya Rupa, in that sampradaya.
Pushti Margi.
There they worship baby Krishna. Baby Krishna.
So what is the wrong? But Prabhuji, that connects.
Nothing wrong in either, whatever kind of, because that bhava is within us, because our spiritual form has that kind of love,
Correct.
And that's going to remain that way. It's our spiritual form,
Yeah. So that is somehow you have to connect with the Lord. Either bhava, one of the bhava, you have to connect with them.
Exactly.
Connect with the hankering, more hankering, like a Hanuman's hankering always with the Lord Ram. Even a Dasha bhava. That way we have to connect. Yeah, okay.
That's exactly what it is there, And this and following the Acharya's directions, instructions, that's we prepare us for that, What is our inner desire? Because right now at this point in our life, we don't know what is our spiritual plan. We don't know, But at proper time and place, our Guru will disclose that to us.
That is the bhava, bhava mood.
That is at a much advanced level, of bhakti. We are now in the kindergarten.
Yeah, Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. So nice,
Very good.
Prabhuji. So nice, because we heard many times past also, but you
Yeah.
brought a lot of different meaning with Acharya's deep understandings. A lot of things
Yeah.
got more clear to me at least on that. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Prabhuji, after all rasas are interconnected. है प्रभु जी? अगर हम दास में फिर आगे जाते तो मगर हम दास तो रहते ही, मतलब every rasa interconnected with each other.
Interconnection है, मगर our spiritual Acharya has explained that I not in this course. I read it before. Each one of us has a particular power, our spiritual form, and we kind of remain in that kind of power, and that indirectly it comes out. If you are really watchful, indirectly comes out. What you want? Just like I mentioned to you, I like to see Krishna and Radha together all the time, where some devotees want to see his baby form, some wants to see his Sakya form, like that. So it all has that particular. So interconnectedness there in a different perspective. I think.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Our Swarupa can be only known only at that higher level. Swarupa, who we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. But it is there within us. It's just not revealed to us. At proper time, it will be revealed to us. All right. Anyone else? Before I turn it over to Sharad Prabhuji. Sharad Prabhuji, begin, and then when they think of it, they will come interject. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Like we are talking of Madhurya Rasa.
Prabhuji, also tell us about that Sanketa place that is still there in Braja, where Krishna and Radha used to meet there.
Yes. Now this Madhurya Rasa, as we know, rather regarding all these rasas, we know there is a hierarchy, and in each hierarchy, it contains the gist of the previous ones. Like in Madhurya, it has got Sakhya, Vatsalya, and all others. That means all the previous ones. And this Madhurya actually, it is so confidential that it is not described much by acharyas, especially our acharyas. And this Madhurya Bhava, it is also there in the other sampradayas like Rama Sita, that is the Ramopasana, it is also there. And Radha Vinod Prabhuji was talking about Hanuman. Now, very interesting thing about Hanuman is, Hanuman, he exists in two bhavas. One is Sakhya Bhava, which is Dasya Bhava, which is known to everybody. Besides that, he serves the dual, that is Sitaram, as Charushila Gopi, Charushila Sakhi. That means he has got two versions, that is the Sakhya Bhava, he in servitude also, and in Madhurya Bhava also. Then I want to say something about this verse 19, which was not covered fully because of time. Now, before that, please remember that all these gopis, as we have learned in this lesson and earlier also, they are the eternal associates of the Supreme Lord from time immemorial. They are Ragatmikas Bhaktas. And for this Leela, in the Krishna Leela, Krishna was about 8 years, and these gopis, they were about 5 to 7 years old, younger than him. And some were married. Married means, as we know from various other courses, they thought they were married. And that was a feeling ingrained in them through Yoga Maya. that is for a particular purpose, that also we know. And those gopis, they had completely spiritual bodies. Their bodies are not like us. They are much different from us. And their senses, they are not presided over by the demigods. Demigods have no place in them. Like we are the various senses, they are presided over by the demigods, and like we see the eyes, they are presided by the sun god, and if we think we are seeing, actually we are not seeing. The sun god is seeing, and we are able to know that. Like this, their bodies are totally spiritual in nature, and their only job is to satisfy Krishna, not for their satisfaction. And with this background, let us try to understand this 19th verse. 19th verse, as you know, it says, Yatte sujata charanamburam stanesu vita sanai priyadadimai karkasesu. That verse and the translation we already know, that your lotus feet are so soft that we are apprehensive. Perhaps we should gently place them on our hard breast, because you roam around in the forest with such soft feet, and how can you possibly not feel hurt by the pebbles and the other things there? Now here, when the gopis are speaking the words, this is the final verse of 31st chapter, the Gopi Gate. They are totally overpowered by intense love, and they are speaking these words with tears in their eyes coming. And various acharyas, they have commented on very lengthy explanations are there. Like one acharya, he says, there is no purpose of going to the forest. Rather perhaps recalling your hardship will mitigate our bewilderment, because your feet are so soft, but your heart is very hard. And that's why you roam around in the woods with your feet. Like this, and the various acharyas, they have described various aspects. Like Sanatana Goswami, what he says, suspecting that Krishna's divine lotus feet might be hurt by roaming in the forest of Vrindavana, since his feet are very, very soft. There is a double mention by pointing out that, therefore, with their request to hold his feet on their breast was meant twice. Now, please remember this type of explanation, this type of request, it has come in 3 verses in the 19 verses. In verse 7, the beginning, today also we saw verse 7, then 13, then 19. Now, okay, since time is there, we will also go through that. What is verse 7? Anybody remembers?
Yes, Prabhuji.
No, not you.
Pranati Dehinam, right?
And what?
Pranati Dehinam Papa Karshanam, right?
Yes, Pranata Dehinam,
Yeah, you
Pap
surrender.
Kartanam, Trunacharanugam,
Yeah.
Sriniketanam,
Kulgetam.
Pranarpitam, Te Padambujam, Trunakuche Suna, Krundirichayam. Basically, it's saying, and the gopis are saying, please place them upon our breast and tear away the lust in our hearts. Then it is also given in the 13th verse. What is the 13th verse? 13th verse, anybody?
Yeah, it's a Pranata Kamadam Padmajarchitam. Yeah,
Pranata Kamadam Padmajarchitam
Padmajarchitam.
Bharana Manditam Dhyayam Mahapati
I know.
Karana Pankajam Santa Manchate Ramana Nastane Varpayadiyam. O lover, O destroyer of anxiety, please put these lotus feet upon our breasts. And as we saw in the last, that is the 19th verse, they are saying your lotus feet are so soft that we place them gently on our breast, fearing that your feet will hurt. Now, the explanation what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is giving, that is also very, very interesting. Now, Krishna might say, uh, you girls, those lotus feet for which you have prayed, they are now immersed in total pleasure. Because I get a lot of pleasure in wandering in the woods of Vrindavana. So there is no opportunity for me to place them on your breast. Now the gopis, as I told you, they were speaking with tears in their eyes. They are saying, we are anxious about your very soft lotus feet, which we ought to place on our breast. Now you roam around in the forest with such feet. And then Krishna might say, why are you so anxious? Now the gopis are saying our breasts are very hard. Now Krishna would say, so why would you hold my feet? Now the gopis would like to say, you like to put your feet on them. In other words, we will place your feet on our breasts upon seeing that you would derive pleasure from that. Now, the next in this verse, it is given Sanai Dadimai Karkasesu. They meant to say, although on such an occasion, it would be clearly, very visibly visible that you derive pleasure from pressing on our breast with your feet. Just by looking at your soft feet, it is inevitable that pain would suddenly occur. That's why we feel aggrieved only because in this way anxiety will come to us. Therefore, we will hold them very carefully. And this type of affliction is a characteristic of Mahabhava. Mahabhava, in the case of the gopis, they are trying to say in that stage, a woman is afflicted by suspecting that her lover is in pain, although he is happy on the other way. We have learned these things in the Ujjala Nilamani also. Now, the implied meaning of this is our unhappiness, our gloom, even though it is with you already written on our foreheads by the Creator, that is Brahma, the subsequent sense it means what is to be done now. If we perform severe austerities while praying to the Creator to make our breast softer, that will cancel your happiness. But since our breasts are hard, your feet have pain, and that is what is our dilemma. We do not want to get involved in that. Then, all right, let us suffer this way, both in meeting you and in separation from you. Although you are independent, how do you tolerate this suffering of ours? Now, Krishna may say, I do whatever crosses my mind. Why do you girls care about me? Now, the gopis would say, your feet do not feel hurt. Of course, there is pain, but you are merciless toward your body parts, like you are merciless towards us. Though you feel pain, still you are saying you do not feel any pain. Or you tolerate that pain because you think these girls are unhappy because I am unhappy, and so I should create my unhappiness to make them unhappy and tolerate it. Or it may mean you regard your pain as joy, since you are joyful by seeing us suffer. We are in great pain, and you are very, very happy seeing us. and therefore you are behaving like that. And what they are trying to say, do is these qualities and faults, they were acquired by associating with Krishna. They are being described by the gopis, and they are pondering about this point, and becoming happy and becoming morose also. Uh, and there is another thing also. Now they had informed him, the gopis had told Krishna about their gloom, but now at the end they give up and imagine that his lotus feet are in pain by going to the woodland. They are saying, your pain is our pain. Now, what they are trying to say, we are happy if you are happy. Krishna was hiding at that time in the shadow, and he was not visible to the gopis. Now, there is another explanation, rather corollary of these explanations, like we know about the incident of Jay and Vijay, how they offended the Kumaras, and how they got cursed, and how they came and had to live in the material world in 3 lifetimes. Now, some acharyas, not our Gaudiya acharyas, some other acharyas in the other sampradayas, they give a different explanation of this. What they say, once Lakshmi Devi, she tried to ask the Supreme Lord, she said, I know that your feet are so soft that I am very, very careful about them. But still then, they are hard also. You fight with the demons, and you walk in the forest, you do so many other things. That's why I'm not very sure if your feet are hard or soft. Can you prove this? To prove that, to prove that even though he has got soft feet, he is also hard. Remember, sometime back we talked about the opposing qualities, the contradictory qualities, how they exist in the Supreme Lord. Now, because of this, then the Lord, he thought, I should make a plan. I should go to the material world and fight with the demons and show to Lakshmi Devi that how strong I am and how I am also able to fight even though my feet are so soft. Now, this is what are the some of the explanations of this verse 19. Now, Charu Prabhuji was asking me to explain about that the story of Sanket. Now, there is a place in Vrindavan known as Sanket Ban, that is somewhere in the area of Barsana. There, the Lord and the gopis, especially Srimati Radharani, they used to meet many a times. And you know what time they used to meet? Like we know that Krishna and Balrama, they used to go to the forest early in the morning. They used to come back in the evening. But during the afternoon time, these places of grazing the cows, that used to differ, that used to be different in different days. But there was a fixed place for the gopis meeting with Krishna secretly every afternoon, and that was in the area of Radha Kunda and Shyama Kunda. And Sanketavana is also there. And there only Radha and Krishna used to meet some of the times, and at other times even Radha used to be accompanied by some of her close associates, and at other times other gopis, they also used to be with Radha and Krishna, and after having their lila, they used to come back to their friends. And please remember, the Gopals, that is the cowherd friends of Krishna, they were not allowed to go there. They were barred from those meetings. They were in their places. Krishna used to go secretly, meet them, have lila with them, and come back. And thereafter, in the afternoon, late afternoon, Krishna used to use his flute to gather all the cows. All the cows means what? There are lakhs of cows. Krishna only had, his father had 10 lakh cows, and there used to be crores of cows. And hearing the sound of the flute, all the cows used to come and they used to go toward the forest. And remember, Krishna used to follow the cows. Why? He wanted the dust from the lotus feet of these cows to fall on him. So that's why they used to go back, and the other Leelas used to start there. They reached, and then after having dinner, they used to sleep, rather so-called sleep. But in between, he used to get up and come again do the Leela with the gopis. This was continuous. This used to happen continuously till he remained there till his 11 years of age. So these are some of the things we learn from this Gopi Geet. Gopi Geet, actually, I'll request the devotees to go through these slides again and again. I have gone through this slide, which was taught today, minimum about 3 hours, and from many angles. The more you study them, the more understanding and the feelings will come to you, and will be able to understand them better. And if you actually read the commentaries of the acharyas, you may not understand everything, but Prabhuji has given them in a very intelligible manner, in which, in very brief, but the very key words have been used so that that can be understood by everybody. I hope everybody is doing that. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Now, if you have any questions, you may ask Prabhuji. If there are no further questions, then perhaps we can conclude the class with Nrsimha prayer. Raksha Mataji? You always there.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Lalita Mataji, you want to do, please, you can do also. Lalita Mataji?
She might have left now.
Okay, so I'm doing.
Yeah.
श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय हो, गोपी गीत की जय हो। नमस्ते नरसिंहाय, नमस्ते नरसिंहाय, प्रह्लादलाददायिने, प्रह्लादलाददायिने, हिरण्यकशिपुर्वक्षः, हिरण्यकशिपुर्वक्षः, शिलटङ्कानखालाये, शिलटङ्कानखालाये, हितो नरसिंह परतो नरसिंह, हितो नरसिंह परतो नरसिंह, यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंह, यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंह, बहिर् नरसिंह हृदये नरसिंह, बहिर् नरसिंह हृदये नरसिंह, नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपद्ये, कमलवरे नाखा अद्भुत श्री
I think she
think-
went into mute by mistake.
Okay.
Mataji, you're on mute. Hare Krishna.
हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय हो नरसिंह देव नरसिंह देव नरसिंह देव जय हो नरसिंह देव जय हो प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज जय हो प्रहलाद महाराज जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। श्री श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंह भगवान की जय हो। भक्त शिरोमणि प्रहलाद महाराज की जय हो। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय हो। सर्व डिवोटी की जय हो। गोपी गीत की जय हो। वृंदावन वासी की जय हो। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। धन्यवाद प्रणाम टू ऑल डिवोटी।
Yes.
थैंक यू।
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we'll continue tomorrow. Hare Bol, and hope to see you
Hari
everyone.
Bol.
Thank you Prabhuji।
Thank you,
so much.
Prabhuji.
Thank
Dandavat
you,
pranam.
Shiv Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
धन्यवाद
Thank you,
प्रणाम। धन्यवाद
Mataji.
प्रणाम सारे प्रभुजी।
Thank you, Prabhuji. Sarat Prabhuji, thank you so much. So we'll meet tomorrow. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
yes, Prabhu. Thank you.